Hello and welcome to Make It Make Sense. I'm Alex Kienlen here in the studio today. We have a special guest with us today, the Fox 16 sports director, Courtney Mims, joining us. Hi, Courtney.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me on.
I'm stoked to have you here too, and I'll also add you bring a lot of energy to the newsroom.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah. Well, you just recently started, and I know we're going to talk about even heavier things here in a minute, but what are your plans going forward in this role?
Well, I mean, a lot. I have a lot of dreams of what Fox 16 Sports looks like. Mm-hmm. We've been taking baby steps, as always,
Sure.
with, when you come into a new role in a new area. While I've lived in Arkansas for the past 4 years now, I've been to Little Rock a few times, but, know the area. But now it's really like immersing yourself in it, right? You're immersing yourself in the community and the culture here. And so I've obviously covered the Razorbacks, but now it's time to expand on that, right? It's not just the Razorbacks. Arkansas has a beautiful, beautiful sports scene here, and so much more than just those guys in Northwest Arkansas and the Hogs and everything to do with them. I get it. It's what people want to hear about, but at the same time, I hope that I make people care about some of the other things we have going on. The high school sports here are incredible. The basketball scene in high school in Little Rock is incredible. And talk about the other schools too. Arkansas State, UCA, UAPB, Harding. Like, let's go into all of those and the stories that might make someone go, I care about that.
You forgot to say UCA.
UCA. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, I didn't go through all of them.
I wonder who's an alum of.
That's right. I'm sorry. Goodness gracious. I should have remembered the Bears because my fiance went to UCA for a little bit. Yes.
Would you like to know some Alex trivia?
Yeah, let's hear it.
My wife and I were married in the chapel on the UCA campus.
Oh, I love that.
Going on 36 years ago. Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
On 36 years. That's amazing.
You need to congratulate her. She puts up with a lot.
I'll definitely let her know if I ever get to meet her.
Well, but you did make trips down here to Little Rock while you were in Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah.
Maybe one of those trips might have been to War Memorial?
Yeah, quite a few trips, actually.
Speaking of War Memorial, I know you have a lot of background on that.
Yeah.
And we talked about it in preparation for this interview, but maybe you could bring us up to date with some War Memorial insight.
Yeah, well, a lot of people right now are talking about whether the Razorbacks should even play any more games there. The contract is over. It was over with this game against Arkansas State, which was kind of crazy that was the final game on that contract because it was also a historic matchup between the two, that was the first time Arkansas and Arkansas State has ever faced off in the histories of the programs. That's over 200 years of combined history of football between those two teams in the same state, and they've never played before, which is just crazy to me. So I actually got a chance to go in depth in the Capitol building and into their libraries and look at how War Memorial was created and the history of why they wanted to create this stadium in Arkansas. And the history is quite beautiful. If you guys don't know at home, I know so many people know a lot about the games being played there, and they know what's been said about War Memorial. They've experienced Miracle on Markham, they've experienced those amazing environments, but the stadium itself is so unique because when they first decided they were going to build a stadium here in Little Rock, they said, you know what? We want this stadium to be for Arkansans, built by Arkansans. And so when they were going and collecting who is going to provide this and who's going to provide the lumber and who's going to provide the stone and who's going to all these different things, they went out and searched for Arkansas companies and Arkansas people. And so it really was when they branded the stadium in those first old pamphlets when it opened up. They branded it, come see the stadium built by Arkansans for Arkansans. And so it was just kind of beautiful. Some of the first ever moments in the stadium, people were going just to get to see. It was a spectacle, right? Now, here in 2025, it is a piece of history, right? Because there really isn't too much that's been done with the place. I know they've done some upgrades. I get it. They have to. They can't just leave it as it was originally made.
Sure.
But to be fair, it's pretty when you look at those old photos of it, you're going, wow, you can see some of where they kept the original architecture and the original building structure of it. And it's just a cool stadium in general. Also, it's called War Memorial, obviously, because it highlights, our people who have fought in different wars, the war, different wars that it's memorialized, and different people that have been integral Arkansans who have fought in battle over the years.
So where do you see this? I noticed in the political debate about this, Governor Sanders, of course, got involved. And while her and UA didn't go at each other, they were very polite around each other, as if to say, "Yeah, we're not going back there for a while."
Yeah, and it's Alex. It's all because of money, right? It's all. I hate to say that, but that's the world we live in college athletics right now, with NIL and how can we make more and more and more money. So here's the thing. When Arkansas goes and plays in War Memorial Stadium, they actually lose money. Why? Because you're losing 20,000 seats that you could have sold over in Fayetteville. It's less capacity, which means less ticket sales, which is, less money, right? Sure. So Hunter Yurchek kind of talked about this in his Little Rock Touchdown Club appearance on this past Monday. So he spoke about, look, we'd like to play games in War Memorial, but somebody has got to step up. Somebody, whether it can be whoever, somebody has to step up and give us some money in order to play that game. Someone basically has to come in and sponsor us. Maybe somebody who could pay the difference of what it would be to sell 70,000 in Razorback Stadium versus 50,000.
And would that be an exceptional event in college sports for somebody to sponsor something like that? Because what kind of money are we talking about to make the difference up in the seating?
I mean, it depends on how much ticket sales are. It depends on how much ticket sales are. And I'm not claiming to know what a ticket these days costs. Right. I don't. The funny thing is, it's hard to tell you exactly what a ticket costs these days at value because the secondary market is crazy. People buy up those tickets and then they sell them on, Ticketmaster and, StubHub and all of those places. So it's hard to tell you what a value of a ticket. I could tell you, I think they're $50, right? But some people say, no, we've sold them for $150 or $200 or, it's crazy. But so I would say if you're looking at a value, I would say take 20,000 times maybe $100. And that's what I would say to make up that money in lost seats from playing in War Memorial.
So, and I guess it would take somebody from War Memorial going out and actively pursuing that level of sponsorship.
Either that or somebody to step up maybe here in the area in Little Rock. I mean, Governor Sanders wants this game to happen, right? Sure. She wants to see the Razorbacks continue to play in War Memorial. So part of me goes, is there something she can do to help out with that? If she wants to see that matchup, well, how can she help? Can she subsidize something? I don't know. I'm not claiming to be a political expert and understand how that would be. The easiest way I could see it happening is some booster in Little Rock decides to go, you know what? Let's do it.
That was a fun game, they said. Yeah.
And I know people here want to see it more games there.
Sure.
I mean, go and ask the players. Quincy Rhodes, he's a guy from North Little Rock, right? He's played in War Memorial Stadium so many times in the high school days. He loved playing in War Memorial Stadium. So is there a way that we can give that experience? Mike Leach, may he rest in peace, but Mike Leach said this is one of the craziest environments we've ever played in, one of the loudest environments as well.
Really?
Yes, because of the way War Memorial was constructed. Yeah. You're basically, if you've ever been, and you know this, you're basically sitting on top of the players.
Right.
You are right next to them. You can see their sweat. In newer stadiums, you're a little bit further away from where the sidelines of those teams are. There's a little bit more buffer room. Not at War Memorial. You are right on top of them. So you couple that sound with the way it's shaped, and you basically have an echo chamber going on of sound. And so it's very cool when you think about, okay, the history, what people have said, how crazy the environment's. Peyton Manning, said this was a stadium that he remembers playing in because of how crazy the environment was. So look, you have all this history. Then you should be playing a game there. You should be playing a college football game there.
Well, and I wanted to get to you about the finances further deeper into the college sports theme, but practically, don't they need to spend some money on War Memorial? Of course, the parking is madness.
Yeah. I would say it definitely needs some more upgrades. That's what I would say, because we had in the press box, and everybody knows this, if you went there, we weren't able to send any tweets out, update any stories, because the Wi-Fi went down.
Right.
That's bad. That's bad in 2025.
And I was thinking about the turf on the field.
Oh, yeah, and the turf, too. I mean, the age-old argument, right? Is it good to play on turf for athletes? There is a correlation. I'm not saying a causation, but a correlation in studies to where, hey, there is a higher chance for injuries on those turf fields. Now, you'd have to go deep. I'm not a doctor. I will say that. You'd have to go deep in those studies to figure out what's going on there. But, yeah, I would say if they want college football players to play there, I wouldn't have turf anymore. I'd have some grass there. I'd have some grass.
Sure.
I'd maintain it. I'd make it look really, really nice for those players.
So, we can leave it at that for now. I don't think anybody wants to put us in charge of War Memorial. But I thank you for your insight. Speaking of insight, now we're already into this at some level, but expenses in college sports, and what do you see coming ahead for that?
A lot of change. And we've already seen a lot of change, right? But revenue sharing hit this past July, where it got passed nationally. And so therefore, what that means for everybody who doesn't know, when we say this term revenue sharing, what does that mean? At its basic core, right? The university was never allowed to pay their athletes NIL money, right? They were never allowed to do that. That's why they had collectives get started and pay through collectives. Well, now with revenue sharing being passed, it's basically saying, hey, you can pay your athletes out of your athletic department funds at a cap, not willy-nilly. You can't spend $55 million on a football team, Texas. You can't do that. Sorry, Texas. But $20.5 million is the cap. Well, that sounds all great in practice, right? That sounds great, but there's a lot of problems when you decide to say, hey, now you have to come up with $20.5 million funds, extra funds on top of what you already deal with. And I can break that down for Arkansas for people, because it is kind of crazy to think about, wow, we now have to have 15% extra of our revenue. And if you asked any business owner that to come up with that overnight, they'd probably close. They probably
absolutely
wouldn't have any choice but to go, oh my gosh, we can't do that. We can't cover the overhead right now.
Right. So have they explained to you any way that they're going to take care of this, that we've got a plan so this isn't going to impact us?
Impact who? Impact Arkansas or impact anybody?
Well, let's say impact Arkansas. But before we say that, let's go ahead and take a break and thank our sponsors who make this possible. And this is Make It Make Sense. I'm Alex Kienlen. I'm here with Courtney Mims, and we're talking college sports and college sports finances. We'll be right back. And we're back. Make It Make Sense with Alex Kienlen, here with guest Courtney Mims. And we were really starting to get into an interesting conversation about expenses in college sports, because now we're seeing that some of these athletes are going to have to start spending a lot more money, or some of these athletic departments are going to need to start spending a lot more money for their players.
Yeah, $20.5 million to be exact, right?
Right.
You've just been handed a card that says you're allowed to pay your athletes, but fine $20.5 million for them. And so where people don't really understand this, right, is they go, well, that's easy. Arkansas made $181 million in revenue. Right? Arkansas that's good. That's in the top 25 of revenue. Well, let me tell you something. They make $181 million, and guess how much they spend?
I can tell where this is going. They spend $181 million.
They spend $181 million, and people go, what do you mean they spend $181 million? Well, let me tell you. salaries for all those coaches. You know, you have a track and field program that continually wins national championships, that's continually one of the best in the entire nation, even in the world. People in other countries know to come to Arkansas for track and field. People in other countries go, the Razorbacks, runners. They don't go football. They don't go basketball. They're in other countries. We are recognized because of the track and field program. Well, that means you have to have great coaches. That means they're going to cost money. That means you have to have a great facility. That costs money. How much does track and field pull in?
I can only imagine.
Less than 1%.
Sure.
Less than 1%. Like even less than that. It probably breaks down to 0.01%. Of what they bring in that athletic department revenue. What's your biggest moneymaker is football.
Sure.
Football sustains everybody's athletic department. It's no different if you go to Texas. It's no different if you go to Alabama, Florida, Tennessee. Everybody is being held up by their football department, by their football team, right? Their football program. So this is where comes the issue. And not just Arkansas is dealing with this, everybody else is dealing with this too. However, there are some schools that are set up a lot better than others, right? And Hunter Yurachek has talked about that some athletic departments are pulling in over $300 million. And to be fair, $300 million, but they're not spending $300 million on upkeeping their facilities and paying their people. They may be spending $200 million. They may be spending $215 million, $220. But that leaves you a surplus, right? Where they can go, oh, $20.5 million, easy. We have that money. That's why you might hear that Texas spent $50 million on their football team, right? Because they had that money last year to spend on different things.
Do they generate that extra? Because, of course, that's a lot of money compared to Arkansas. But that's not just through ticket sales, is it?
A lot of that is through different things that they do. I believe Texas as well. I know Florida does, so I'm not as well versed on Texas's finances breakdown. I do know some other programs, and I'll bring in Florida to this, charges their students on campus a student athletic fee. So when I had to go to the University of Florida, if I wanted to participate in being in a part of a student section, free tickets for basketball, free tickets for volleyball, whatever. Football, you had to pay for. You did have to pay for those. But you paid a student athletic fee, which was basically, it's added on everybody's tuition. It's added on, and you have to pay that per semester. And so it's like, I don't know, I think I paid $100, $200, $300 on that. And so other universities charge that to help with sustaining those athletic departments. Now, I will say this, Arkansas does not have that. That Hunter Yurachek said, we do not charge our students an athletic fee on the campus. It might be something that you see. Tennessee has done something new where on every single ticket sale, on every single concession, on every single thing that you purchase, like if you purchase a beer in the stadium, right? You purchase a $14 beer at Tennessee, right? It's $14, $15. You're going to be charged what they call an NIL fee. That goes on top of your purchase, that goes to, and it's a percent of your purchase, and that goes directly to their NIL funds.
Now, speaking of NIL, isn't there some plans to have like 50-50 raffles at the sports events?
They've been doing that. Arkansas has been implementing that, which was a great idea. And honestly, kudos to everybody who got that off the ground, because that was something that Florida's done, other universities have done, but Arkansas has been incredibly successful. There are other universities that have looked at Arkansas's model and gone, man, we need to do that, because it's been so successful with generating revenue and doing well. I mean, I think the jackpot for the Alabama A&M game was like over $100,000.
Oh, wow.
And I went, oh my gosh, that's crazy. So they've been really doing well on that. They've also, and Hunter Yurachek has been under fire for this by the fan base, he reseated Bud Walton Arena. So people that have paid years and years and years and years and years for season tickets, he had to reseat it and basically jacked up those costs, right? That hurt a lot of the diehard fans because they said, wait, what do you mean? I've had these seats for 30 years.
Right.
I've had these seats for 30 years. What are you talking about?
I was going to say, I'd assume there's even some second-generation seats and that sort of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so they've had their seats since Bud Walton Arena opened, right? In
right.
the Nolan Richardson days.
Right.
They've had those seats since then. And so he reseated it, meaning, hey, you're going to get kicked out of your seats. And look, the prices have gone up. And I know a lot of people were upset about that, but he said the other day that helped with, they have to make 20.5
right.
in extra revenue, 20.5 million. That made 10.8. So that made
not bad,
right?
Just the seating made 10.8.
Just the seating.
So with the seating and what we're seeing with these raffles, is it possible they've got this covered?
It's possible they're working towards it, right? They're not. I don't think they're in a position where they feel comfortable about it. They're not in a position like Texas. They're not in a position like LSU. They're not in a position like these other bigger schools that go, we generate $300 million in revenue. We're good. We're good. They're more like for a comparison for people, if you're wondering, well, who else is like this? Mississippi State is struggling right now. Same boat, right? You've got Missouri that reports came out not too long ago. And listen, these are just reports. So believe what you want to believe, that they're going into debt to get that $20.5 million that they're going to pay up front and say, we'll have that money. We promise. But right now we don't. We don't have that. So that's a little scary. I know Hunter doesn't want to do that, right? That would be really scary to start giving away funds that you don't have.
Right.
That you don't know that you have.
Well, it's not a model for success, is it?
No, it's not. So he's also, and this created some drama.
Sure. He
also made a point to say that, look, NIL and college athletics right now is like driving down the highway. How many of you drive down I-40, and if you know there isn't going to be a cop waiting on you, how many of you, instead of going, 50, 55, you go 65 or 70?
Yeah, I'm not going to answer that.
Yeah. And I'm not saying answer that, but I might have raised my hand. But
this is a real camera, yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. It's okay. But there was a lot of people raising their hands.
Sure,
he goes, okay.
Sure.
He goes, that's what some schools are doing because there's no checks and balances right now. They're going, hey. Who's going to stop us? Who's going to stop us if we toe the line? Who's going to stop us if we drive in this third lane? Now, Hunter said, we're not going to do that at Arkansas. We feel that's a very dangerous place to be.
Sure.
Very dangerous. Depending on what could happen, what if somebody starts, putting down the hammer and goes, you know what? Arkansas, you're banned from bowl games for 2 years, a bowl ban for 2 years.
Right.
Well, that doesn't help anybody. So Hunter's kind of saying, look, we don't want to drive in this third lane.
Right.
We want to do what we can, but who's going to stop the people from driving in the third lane? Nobody is stopping them right now.
And as we're talking about the third lane, it's a sort of underhanded funding is what you're pointing towards.
Well, basically,
off the books funding.
Well, yeah, stuff like that. Where maybe you have a cap of $20.5 million, right?
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Who's going to stop us if we spent $24 million?
Yeah.
$25 million. What about 27?
Because we've got some people that really want this team to,
Well, there's a lot of people out there, and again, I'm not trying to point any fingers, but I am going to look at Texas for one fact, right?
Oh, really?
Well, I am going to look at them. Here's why: because you're making over $300 million in revenue. I think the last number I saw from them was $333 million in revenue. That means they have a lot of money to play with. Lot of money to play with, and so they were known for spending the most on their football team. They were known for that. That was not a secret. They spend a lot of money on their football team. So now you're saying, okay, you might have spent $40 million, $50 million. The numbers get thrown out, guys. So that's why we're talking and kind of, we don't know how much they actually spent. But let's say they spent $50 million on their football team. Well, that's a stark difference from $20.5 million. And if you spend all of your revenue sharing cap on football, what about basketball?
Right.
What about baseball?
What about track and field?
What about track and field?
Yeah,
what about softball? Texas's softball team is good. What about that?
I did an article on them last year.
Yeah.
They're excellent.
Yeah. So they're going to go, what about us? What about us? And so this is where you start pushing the envelope. Okay, we'll give $20.5 million to football, but hey, softball, here's some money, softball.
If you reach under the table,
here's some money. Just don't say that we're giving you any revenue share money. And that's how those things happen.
And aren't we pushing? You and I have talked about this in the past, the bagman era.
Oh yeah, the bagman. Yes.
Yeah, where paying players under the table.
Yeah, McDonald's bags. You remember that?
Oh yeah. I remember. Yeah, that's right. You told me about that. Yeah.
I did. Yeah, but we're still in that era.
Explain McDonald's bags because not everybody might know what you're talking about.
Well, it was. I believe the University of Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken, that it was Tennessee.
That rings a bell,
I
but I'm
believe
not sure.
Believe it was an orange school. So one of the orange schools.
Okay.
I believe it was Tennessee who were giving their players. They were bringing recruits on campus, and they were giving them. But when they left, right, McDonald's bags. And going, have a nice lunch, have a nice lunch. And when they would open up the McDonald's bags, they would go, there's a bunch of cash in here. And that's how they were getting away with it, although they were caught for that, right? So, don't know how good that did them.
but of course, now we've taken care of that now because now we have NIL.
But not really.
Yeah.
Right? You always find ways to get around the system, right? You always find ways unless you have what they were talking about was they were talking about having a clearinghouse to oversee this, take it out of the NCAA's hands, because the NCAA, quite frankly, I'm going to say this is incompetent. And I can say that on this opinionated show that I quite frankly, don't give a lot of love to them because they've messed up a lot. And so they've said, we're afraid of being sued. We're afraid of being sued. Okay, fine. You're afraid of being sued. Let's get a clearinghouse in that comes in. Deloitte, if you've ever heard of that company,
Sure,
Deloitte.
absolutely.
Deloitte made a bid to be that clearinghouse. But here's the thing. That clearinghouse hasn't been established yet. Nobody knows. It's right now, it's the wild, wild west until Deloitte decides to make an example out of somebody. We're never going to get anywhere.
You've given us a lot to think about, Courtney.
I'm sorry.
And I sense we could keep going for another hour or so on this.
We could. Maybe a part two.
Part two,
Maybe
yeah.
a part two.
What I'm kind of curious about is where this is going to land ultimately.
If you have the answer to that, let me know.
Yeah, well,
because
actually,
that's the joke, right? In college athletics is we do not know. Coach Calipari said, if you do, give me a call. I'll give you a job. So
awesome. Well, with that, we're gonna take the show off. I'm gonna have you back though. I promise.
Great.
So you don't have to send me cards and letters. I'll have her back. I promise. And for Make It Make Sense, this is Alex Kienlen. I'm here with Courtney Mims. And Courtney, what an informative discussion we've had today.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to doing this with you again soon.
Absolutely.
Bye.